so much has happened over the last few days that it's hard to even keep track. I'm sitting here in our apartment with Sarah. She's putting some stuff away, and
What are you talking to?
I'm finally doing the YouTube thing.
Okay.
So this is what I think's going on, and this is what I think. So here are my predictions, I guess, or just this is how I read the tea leaves. Okay, so what is going on? I think it's the 12th. The 11th of March at 8:15 Central Time. Man, I put all those in there because who knows what's going on at this second. Okay, so I'll just start with what I think is happening in the world right now is we effectively stopped governing the world through economics and been an economic planet colony of humans, whatever they want to call it, and there was a phase shift, meaning a huge change, and we're going to have a new style of governance and way of living on this planet. That's the broadest term. And there's so many things going on that are all connected and not connected and are going to lead to different things. And it's just a fascinating time. It's incredible. The coronavirus started this whole thing, but it wasn't the spark. Or it started the fuse. Yeah, it was the spark that started the fuse, and it blew up last Sunday when Russia and Saudi Arabia started the price war and the price of oil dropped 30%. That was the boom. That was the bubble bursting. And unlike any other time when bubbles burst, it kind of happens a little bit slower, where it's just like one company goes under, then a couple more go under, then now it's kind of slowing down and there's some acquisitions and it doesn't feel as stable, and then all of a sudden a lot of things kind of collapse. Okay, this one, companies haven't even collapsed yet, but the bubble burst. And here's why. So how are those two things connected? Politicians are saying, or not politicians, but the news media is talking about how the price in oil is because of this price war between Russia and China and Saudi Arabia. But that's not true. It's not true at all. It's such more complex and nuanced. You talk to a gas guy and they'll say, and an economist, and they'll talk about how our shale industry has kind of been bullying this thing since 2015, and then 2018 there were some disruptions, and it's a long time coming, or they could see it happen because there was some tension building up. Well, that's probably true. It is true. What's another thing that happened with it? Well, China shut down. China's manufacturing shut down. And what that was the global engine of the world, and they shut it down. So what happens when you turn an engine off? We don't need any more gas. The gas just sits in the gas tank. And those shocks started going back to the supply chain, and it hit Saudi Arabia. And one day last week, forget what day, there was an article that said that Saudi Arabia is going to lower its daily production by 1.5 million barrels a day. And then the next thing I heard was they were trying to get Russia to get on board with it as well. Because Russia is a exporter of energy. But now we have us in there as well. So we're doing 5 million barrels a day, I think. I don't know. It's a big number. We're a major player in there. That's one of the sectors that over the last 10 years, since 08, 09, has been doing, been okay. You can argue with me. Some say good, some say bad, but it has been chugging along and it has given jobs and all this kind of stuff. But what it also did was it had a massive amount of debt, a massive amount of debt. And that the only reason it was able to do things was because we've been in this like insanely low interest rate since 0809. So everyone's looking for yield. So this is kind of working. This is kind of making money. This is building it up. We got a lot of stock valuation and all this stuff from it, right? So everyone feels good and great. Well, the average price to get the barrel of oil out in the US for producers is $35. $35. For China, for Russia, it's $7. For Saudi Arabia, it's $3. But because we're doing fracking, we're doing all this kind of stuff, it's just more expensive. They're right. We have a ton of oil, but it's hard, it's expensive to get to oil. And these other ones are really cheap. So anyway, we've been keeping the price up for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't judge it, but it's been up and it crashed from 50 to, it was at 28. So now all of the shale industry is pretty much done. And I mean that in a lot of different ways. One, if you're the higher the risk you are as a company, small, medium, or large, the less likely you're going to start to be able to get capital to roll over that debt, that massive amount of debt that you've accumulated. Because these wells weren't as productive as the old oil ones that you'd stick a pole in the ground and you'd have oil for 20 years. And it was just a cash register over and over. These wells aren't like that. You get 2 years of production or 6 months of production and it tails off and it costs millions of dollars. It was just a finance game. It's a financial game that smart people figured out how to get money from investors, get low interest rate loans, keep on rolling it over because it was 0% interest. It was cheap money. Okay, so that's all going on. Well, who's the counterparty risk? Who's the counterparty risk? Well, someone who needs yield. So Wall Street, the major banks, they're involved in it. They're taking money out of it. This is big business for them, keeping this thing going. I mean, heck, it might be what they're surviving on. Who knows? And why do I say that? Well, because we never really solved anything from 08, 09. We papered over it. I don't think that's controversial. We papered over the problem. We didn't let any of the debt go down. We built up huge amounts of debts, stock. Okay, so let's just start talking about that. You had QE1, QE2, QE3, TARP, QE4, QE to infinity. I don't even remember all of them. It was 10 years ago, but they're still going on. For the last 6 months, I've been hearing nothing but the repo market at night. The Fed has been injecting stimulus into the repo market. So our economy was already too I heard one guy say it was too frothy and the 10% was ridiculous and needed to come off. Whatever. So that just means we had extended well past when we should have. And there should have been a correction of the bad debt. We didn't have it. We went for 10 years because no politician, regardless if it's Obama or Trump or any of them, want to have a recession under their watch. So they've been messing with finance. And I think they kind of had to. I think we got backed ourselves into a corner and it had to work out that way. And since 08, 09, it kind of crumbled, but we propped it up. We kicked the can down the road. Remember all these analogies? Kick the can, extend and pretend. Well, when the coronavirus shut down the manufacturing, which caused the oil producers to turn down the spigot, which is what Saudi Arabia did, and Russia then goes, well, no, I'm not going to do it, and left our shale industry bye-bye. Even if it doesn't go bye-bye, like 50%, it's going to be a rocky road. A lot of money is going to be lost. They're in trouble. Counterparty risk is the bank, so we'll get to that. So that's counterparty risk of the bank. The banks, which, I keep on hearing everyone saying they're recapitalized. Okay, how many industries right now are getting destroyed by this corona thing? Airline industry, tourism, cruise ships, healthcare. Trump has already said, well, 3 of those, that there's going to be government assistance. He hasn't even mentioned shale yet. Let's even talk about Boeing. Boeing is teetering. Boeing is a huge corporation. They provide a lot of parts to a lot of planes in the air, and they're kind of the only one left after everything, I think. I mean, they're the major one. Can we figure out a way to supply parts? Yeah, but they're not getting upgrades, I guess. I don't know. They're teetering. So do we bail out that one? Because I think they also have a lot of military shit going on. So they might be of strategic interest. Well, shit. Now we got to start spending more money. It's Trump is about to unleash an amount of money into the economy that is going to make 07, 08, 09, 10, 11 look cute. But then, like, does that work? Do we all work? Do we all allow that and we continue with the system? Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe it does. But that's not our only problem. So we're already in an economy that shale's gone. All these ones are on the brink. We don't even know the ones that are going to be in a month or two. So here's what's going to happen. Massive layoffs. A lot of businesses are going to go under. Huge, right? So we're skipping recession. This is depression the greatest. But now we even got the coronavirus that's we're like 10 days. Okay. Everyone who says it's just a flu, whatever, I don't know. It clogs up hospitals. And when those services go, then it's chaos. So, okay, we'll find out how Italy gets out of it, how France and how Germany are going to get out, because we're about to live this nightmare too. The WHO finally said it's a pandemic. Okay, it's a pandemic. No more like silliness. That's what it is. And we're probably behind the power curve, and this is probably going to hurt a lot. So we're going to be at home for a month? What are all these businesses going to do? What about all this debt? And I mean, it's so complex now with high frequency trading this and overnight that and algorithm this, and I'm an idiot. I don't even know what they are. They're not even traders in the bullpen anymore, I don't think. It's just, so what's going on with the stock market? You have these whips. Now, what's causing those whips? Well, I think the market knows that there's nothing coming from China. There's nothing coming from China still. Like, nothing. Well, a business can't make money if there's nothing to sell. So now everyone's pissed off. Okay, so China, what's going on with China? Well, they're shut down. I don't know if they're coming back online. They might have a huge problem. There might be a revolt in China. They might have to put the military to get people to do things. I don't know. I don't think they're happily producing yet. I mean, I think they would show photos of that and say, hey, we're coming back online. Your Walmarts are going to be full again very quickly. Like, I don't see that. I don't see that at all. And our corporations would love to show that. Hey, we're a month or two behind. It'll be fine, right? That's not happening. It's nothing. The supply chain is broken. So it's causing a bullwhip. Well, I mean, I don't even know. That might even be done. We might not even have a supply chain bullwhip. But it's making volatility in the market. Up 1,000, down 2,000, up 1,000, down 1,000. What happens when that thing gets even more sideways? And those computer programs, counterparty risk at this bank, and this bank, and this bank, and this, derivative this, derivative that, whatever. When it gets sideways, goes pretty bad. Okay, but now let's do a geopolitical thing. Just like a tiger cornered, a wounded tiger cornered, or a wounded animal cornered, countries are going to fight because people in power want to stay in power. And I mean, I get it. You want to maintain the empire, maintain whatever country you're in. So let's talk about China. They got a big military. They spend a lot of money doing research and a lot of espionage, and all of a sudden, maybe supersonic missiles, maybe whatever, take down our aircraft carriers. Am I saying that they're going to attack the U.S.? No, maybe. I don't know. But are they about to own Taiwan? Probably. Are they about to plant the Chinese flag on Hong Kong? Probably. I don't know that region very well. I mean, could they take Japan? Maybe. I don't know, right there, South Korea. I don't know. They might own that entire section. And why? And maybe not because they want to, but maybe because they are poor. They are done. They are broke. They have to go conquer new lands. This kind of reminds me of history. Anytime, well, I mean, anytime, I don't know, but it kind of seems that in history, when there are countries that are poor, or when the leaders become poor, well, wars cancel one side's debts and puts it on the other. I think. I mean, right? And that kind of been a theme throughout history. I mean, maybe it's not that simple, but they talk about World War II as being fought because of the economic conditions. Well, that's where we're at. And they might decide that it's their turn to own half the world. We no longer own the shipping lanes. Right? I don't know. We got a big Navy, but we've never been so vulnerable. Never been so vulnerable. We don't make anything in the U.S. Nothing. I mean, someone can tell me some things, but like percentage-wise, let's be like overly generous. Maybe like less than 10%, less than 20%. I mean, I think we'd have to make 80% to survive this, 50% to survive this. We don't make 50%. And then what we do make, where do we get the raw materials? China. Because, everyone who's on Trump will be like, we knew this was a bad idea and Trump was trying to do this and trying to do that. Yeah, maybe, I guess, I don't know, whatever. But that's the way it is. Everything is over there. And we're not getting those raw supplies. We would have to develop our own supply chains and our own factories and our own raw materials and our own mining and all that stuff. I mean, maybe we can patchwork it enough around the world to get the vital things, but nothing in scale. Nothing in scale. I mean, and it's not like it's not like I'm blaming anyone. The entire world did this. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Cool, right? Cheap goods. And I mean, for everyone who's pissed off that all those corporate people did it and all the, politicians did it, like, I get it. You're right. But what did they also do? Well, we also exported our pollution. So that was nice. Our land got to be a little bit nicer and they kind of killed themselves, which we've done in history. We used to do that. But anyway, we gave that to them. And then we used them as slave labor. Like your iPhone, like they've got so many people. Their solution to people jumping out the windows because they hate their job so much is to put nets. Like that kind of shows you that like HR is not as sympathetic as we are, and none of us gave a shit. Like we didn't know who they were. They were just little brown people someplace, and they were making all our shit. And they didn't quit. They didn't revolt. They were still in it, and this virus just knocked them out. Knocked it out, and everything ground to a halt. The engine turned off. So then the U.S. bubble got popped. Okay, now let's go to Italy. Italy's in trouble, but what else is in trouble? Well, the EU now. The EU, what was the economic impact of Brexit? Who knows? I don't know. Good or bad? Who knows? It happened. Now Italy, they're shut down. They can't make any debt payments. So they're not making any payments to the EU through their taxes, which they've been just destroying the citizens of Italy. Sarah's from there. She's been here for 2 years. Like the story she tells, Italy's a socialist country. You make a lot of money in Italy if you make 3,000 euros a month. Is that a very good salary?
2,000 is already good.
2,000 euros a month is really good, and they have 60% taxes.
Yes.
Anyway, right? Those payments aren't going to the ECU. Those payments aren't going to Deutsche Bank, HSBC, whoever. Maybe to Germany, maybe to other sovereign countries. Who knows? But nothing's getting repaid right now. So credit seizing up, money seizing up. Inventories are going to start seizing up. And it's crazy because we're so many things are going on. The oil is we have no demand and a lot of supply. And what we're about to have in the United States and across the world is a lot of demand and no supply because China's off. But we have a ton of oil. So that's kind of funny. But Italy's a risk to bring down the EU. And it's not just Italy. I mean, maybe Italy they can handle, but sounds like Germany is about to get hit. Sounds like France is about to get hit. Sounds like Spain is about to go through everything that Italy is. Italy just got unlucky and was the first one. They had the best hospitals. And that's what it does to the best hospitals. What's it going to do to Spain? What's it going to do to France? I mean, the Germans, who knows, right? Okay, well then so that's a risk with the EU. So Sarah's father sent a text saying, why are there 30,000 U.S. troops in Europe? I don't know. I've never heard anything. So I looked it up in Google, and I didn't research it a lot, but I read an article, and it looks like they're from the Independent or something. I mean, Google it. Maybe I'm wrong. This might just be a theory, but 30,000 American troops in Europe for an exercise? I mean, that sounds expensive. Is it possible? Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it was always in the plan. Maybe it was a big show of force that Trump had. And maybe I'm looking too much into this. Maybe they got there through an exercise and it just hit at the right time. And this leads me to my next thing. I think everything is in play right now. I think everything in the world is completely in play. What if we're going to take over Europe? Because we justify it in the sense of the fact that, well, if we're not going to do it, Russia's going to do it. And you're like, well, why would Russia do it? Well, Russia's been kicked out of the world stage, or not world stage, but the SWIFT system. He's been in U.S. timeout for a while, and for 4 years, half of our country has been accusing him of everything under the sun. Maybe he did it, maybe he didn't, but you got all those, just so obnoxious news reporters in the media talking about Russia. Oh, he's a Russian asset. He's a Russian asset. Everyone's a Russian asset. I mean, hopefully Russia knows that y'all are just batshit crazy. And if y'all aren't batshit crazy, and this is true, well, then they know the jig is up and they've got to prepare. The best defense is a good offense. So maybe they deliberately sliced our throat by not keeping the price of oil high. Maybe they did that deliberately. Maybe they just got tired of getting pushed around and said, fuck it, no, we're going to do what we want to do. Well, the result's the same. So now Russia's sitting here going, I mean, there's historians everywhere. There's general colleges that teach general things. I don't think this is like a secret. I mean, how many Henry Kissingers are there still left in the world who every crisis they can play a chess hand? I mean, that's all this thing is. Good for them, right? Hope I'm on the one that wins. I don't have a moral obligation to any of them. I mean, I'm kind of in it for myself. So if I'm on the team that wins, yay. But Russia saw that they collapsed the shale industry, which they see the bubble of all this debt that we've accumulated over the last 10 years with all these bailouts, and no products going to us, and this virus is about to hit us, and we've just been doing some crazy shit the last few years. We're just doing what kind of big empires kind of do, I think. I mean, you can be offended if you want to. I don't know. Like the F-35 program, the trillions of dollars we spent on that. I mean, oh, come on, how much money the U.S. military spent on the rifle competitions? How many aircraft carriers do we need? We spent so much money through our military. And let's look at our leadership right now. I mean, there's a small group of people who are fanatical about Donald Trump. Okay, whatever, fine, I get it. There's a small group of people who are fanatical about Bernie. And there's a lot of people in the middle, and they're trying to scratch their head. The left is so messed up right now that they've pretty much nominated a guy who's senile. Like, he doesn't know where the hell he is. Like, that's going to be the solution of our problems, is that guy. I mean, sucks. So Trump's there. So now what could be ironic is, if we have this Great Depression, if we have this virus that hits at the same time, if we have some engagements across the world because they're all struggling and they got to figure out what they're doing and they're trying to preserve their way of life, and hey, they might look at it as like time to topple the king or carve out a bigger space. I mean, Trump could appoint himself king, emperor, and I mean, maybe it's for his own survival. Maybe he's that crooked. Whatever reason, who knows? I don't care. I don't care. But what if he does? What if he does because he has to, right? For his own political survival. For his, Caesar got stabbed. People can get killed, but because he thinks he's doing it for the good of the country, and maybe he is. Biden can't do anything, and who's he supposed to step down? And then Pence do it, and then who? Nancy Pelosi. I mean, any of the generals. Oh shit, the generals. I mean, I guess you can like the generals and still have this like they're honorable people, but Petraeus, like, they're all politicians. Like Petraeus, if some Joe would have done what he did, they'd still be they'd be executed. And he got I don't even remember, but it's corrupt at that. As soon as a general retires, they go and gets on the board of whatever military industrial complex company can do. I mean, anyone in the military can tell you this. We're rotten to the core. So no generals can take this over. I don't know anyone who can take this over. Like, everything is up in the air. Like, there's no telling what China will do. There's no telling what Russia will do. There's no telling what we'll do. Or the EU. It's absolutely incredible what's going on. And I know this might sound just like absolutely insane. But I don't know, like, I don't see how it will ever go back the way it was. We're not going to there's too many people who are pissed off about China controlling all our manufacturing. So there's enough people that after this debacle, they're going to say, bring it back. Okay, when they bring it back, then we're not going to be a consumer-based, just throwaway culture anymore. Things will become more expensive because of higher standard of living. Maybe, who knows, we're not going to be this throwaway Costco mass bulk slave labor from China anymore. That ended. It's real easy to turn that engine off. I mean, it took a pandemic, but you turn that off, you don't just turn it right back on. How many small factories or whoever are going to be missed along the way? I don't even think they're up yet. So that's 4 months, 3 months. They've been closed. Those Costco's are, whatever inventory is in the U.S. currently is what will refill those Costco's. And then nothing. And then that's it. And even if China does come back online, our economy has so many things connected that, and it took too much, and it started rocking, and it's too much volatility. Can't make it. We have too much debt. We have too too many razor thin margins, too many just-in-time inventories, too many computer algorithms, too many overnight rate funds to save a tenth of a percent. It was too much of a razor thin. There was no built-in for chaos, and this is what it was, chaos. So now, what do you have in the United States? Well, let's say I am right, and we're about to be on a, maybe not tomorrow, but let's say the United States populace starts to get really pissed, and they're like, "What the fuck happened?" So, do we go after the politicians? Yeah, sometimes, but usually politicians are pretty good at giving us an enemy to hate, to blame. I mean, wasn't that what 1984 was all about? When that, I mean, looking back now, like Bush gave us Iraqis to hate. We hated on the Vietnamese, and it's not just us. It's not the U.S. It's not that leftist like everyone does it, but they do it, and we fall for it every time. Okay, so who are we going to blame? Well, China's the easy answer. I mean, the Russians too. I mean, I guess the left could make a case for this is all Russia's fault, which, I mean, I think it takes two to tango, and I think that Putin. I think we were the, bully, and Putin was the underdog, and Putin's just smarter than us. Smart, you know, Russia had a Russia had a leader who was capable for a very long time, who could guide the ship, and our democracy. We started electing bozos, and then we took our culture just got sick, and I think that I bring this up because let's say I am right about this geopolitical conflict that we might have going on. So Trump is the leader, or whoever. I mean, whoever, like Biden or Bernie Sanders or whoever wins, whatever scenario. It's like, my grandfather was a little too young. Well, one of my grandfathers was a little too young to be part of the greatest generation that went to war, but the other one wasn't. So he went. Are these the ones that are going to be the next greatest generations? Us overweight, us on every antidepressant known to man, like these little fat kids running around. I don't know. I think the army is going to have a tough job molding some of those cats and get them into fighting shape. I mean, maybe we have enough people and our army is good enough, but if it takes numbers, if it takes actual numbers, maybe this is Z generation. For some reason, they said they've kind of got their head on straights, but I think the millennials are trash. I mean, everyone hates them. Can't do shit. The millennials right now are the ones who are okay with obesity. These are not the toughest people, mentally tough, toughest mentally people out there. We could be in a ton of trouble. We'd be in a ton of trouble. Our military is not going to get resupplied. And I say that it's because it's the boring stuff. And I don't know any of this to be absolute true, but I want to bet all of our raw materials, all our base chemicals, the cheapest way we could find them, we would import that stuff, let them deal with the pollution. So our refineries will take the crude and mix it with the chemicals and whatever the process is. I'll bet you somewhere along that supply, changing oil in the refinery in Galveston or in Baton Rouge or wherever along the coast, I bet you somewhere in that process there's one ingredient that it's completely necessary that only comes from China. And this thing grinds down to a halt. I mean, and there's so many things going on, you know. So Bernie's pretty much out today. He's out of the running. He's out of the race. There's a lot of people who are not going to be quiet about that. Now they really don't care. They really don't care about this thing. Well, maybe there's not a huge amount, but maybe there's enough. Maybe there's enough. And why do I say this? I'm not on their side, but I think I understand. And what I think I understand is capitalism doesn't work for everyone. Not everyone's better. I mean, I guess you can say it because we had iPhones and the internet. And that way I completely agree. It's like, yeah, it does work for everyone. But some people get ground up in it. Some people lost their home. Some kids saw their family lose their home in 08, 09. And I am sure there's bitterness. I'm sure there's resentment. You know, the banks got rich. All the boomers got bailed out. And all that debt was put onto the millennials saw it, and they were righteously indignant. And then they got told all this other bullshit about whatever the left issues are. I can go through those too, but they're not a resilient bunch. They're an angry bunch. And they don't believe in any of the system. Like, so now they're upset. The convention, if it even gets to the convention, that's going to be crazy. And here's the other thing: the Democrats, really, who's going to stop Trump from just walking away? I mean, when you have a two-party system, you kind of want it balanced. Well, Biden, he's senile. I mean, I don't have anything against the guy. I don't like him. I don't dislike him. I don't give a shit. But really, I mean, it looked from the very beginning like he didn't want to win this thing. Okay. So this is Trump's the horse we get to run the race with. I mean, who knows? Maybe he consolidates, He tried to buy Greenland. We'll just go take Greenland over, go take Europe over, protect them. I mean, I think Europe would rather have that than have Russia take them over. Maybe not, I don't know, but everything seems like it's in play. Everything. Every country. Everyone's weak right now. There's never been this much chaos in the world all at once. All at once. Economies all over the world blew up for different reasons. Perfect storm. I mean, it was pretty fragile. Financially, it was fragile. I mean, I think most people knew that it was getting into like insane land. I think the West has definitely been losing their kind of mind. Extend and pretend in whatever version of it. So it stopped making sense, and now there's chaos. So now chaos has took a destructive form. And we're going to see events unfold. And I mean, and then there's other things that can be going on behind the scenes, like China, Russia, us. Who's talking to who? Who's making a deal for who? Who's on whose side and who isn't? Are there sides? I think, I think we'll get led. I mean, I don't know if this will happen. I mean, who knows the percentage wise, but it's a possibility. I think the United States, because of everything Trump's been doing, I think his voice gets to be louder. So the Mao of the world can't scream Russia anymore, whether it was true or not. Gone. So now Fox News will have the narrative. Okay, the right one. The right one. Okay, so we'll probably go over the years. We'll probably shift more far right than we are now. But okay, whatever. That's my prediction. And then, so that's the first thing. So Trump is China. China. You know, how easy is it to say, how many movies have there been where it's like, oh, this virus got out and we found out that it was a bioweapon Chinese. Oh, great, we got to go kill them now. We got to go fight them. And then because of all the Powers Act, because everyone's not panicking now, they've got an enemy to fight. Now Trump can just ration things, ration food, strategic everything. A lot of people are going to die, but we go to war, we go to China. It gives the time for the entrepreneurs and the rich people to build out all the factories in the U.S. because now it's our patriotic duty, just like it was World War II. We go, we fight China, we win. Or we fight China because that's what Trump wants to do, and then after, you know, as much damage can be done to both parties, China and U.S., then Russia comes in and clears the table with two weakened enemies, and then it's theirs. I mean, we're probably going to see World War III. I mean, nuclear too. It wouldn't surprise me right now to see a flash in Dallas. Like everything's in play. The globalization stopped in 2020. It's never, I mean, it might go back, but in a very different form after a lot of pain, after a lot of things have to get changed and a lot of new companies have to get started up and credit has to start being given for entrepreneurs to do things, and banks will probably have to wash away their bad debt this time, and it's going to hurt. I mean, or not. Maybe they can pull out some more financial things, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like the market is just taking. Looks like the market is just taking away with it, or uncontrollable. They cut the interest rate by 50 points, so now what is it? What's the rate? Under 2, 1%, 0.75%, I don't know, 1.25%, something like that. They don't have much room, and they're talking about negative interest rates. Fine. How long is that going to last? I mean, theoretically, could it be possible? Sure. We still don't have anything coming in from China. You got to sell products. Amazon's going to stop selling products. It's all made in China. What, like? Am I crazy? Like, what's going on? What's happening here? And we haven't even talked about, like, the virus overwhelms hospitals. Now we're going to be super weak. I don't even know what's going on in Russia, what the numbers look like. They might be going through the same thing. We're all in. It happened to the world this time. And that's a weird thing, because I remember 9/11. I remember being in college in 9/11, and it happened to the United States, and then we did what we did, and you know all the other countries were kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. This happened to the entire world, all the major players. We thought it was a good idea to globalize everything, connect everything. I mean, how many commercials, connecting possibilities, connect this, connect that, connect this, connect that. Everything's connected. And the major global manufacturing engine in the world got turned off. And just-in-time inventories and razor-thin margins, and the Walmart's cutting low prices every day. It's a good idea at the time. I mean, it worked for a while. I mean, I profited from it. So it's like living through those stupid movies, The Big Short and Margin Call or whatever. Companies are going to start going under left and right. There's going to be so many mass layoffs. I mean, I don't know what about the housing prices in the world and all the country, but in Dallas they're ridiculous. In Austin they're ridiculous. Again, 0809, pump that bubble back up, or one of those things, or pump, whatever, I don't know. Pumped it up. How many people bought their home, fixed it up, and now it's like, oh, it's 400,000 now. Maybe Texas will be okay because we have so many people coming, but I do not think so. I do not think so. All right, well, I think that's it so far. Every day is something new. Every day it's like I've missed so many things, and it's already been 46 minutes. Like every day, it's something else. Interesting time to. I mean, it's the most interesting. Like it definitely is America the television show, and they thought, when was it? They're like, oh, this is the last season. I mean, we all knew that joke. Collectively, we sensed that it was coming towards an end. I mean, I mean, look who we were choosing for our leaders. I mean, some people. The last. And that was the final chapter of whatever we want to call it. I mean, some historian will come up with some phrase, and they might use different terms or periods or whatever. But I do definitely think like the Bronze Age, the Silver or Bronze Age, the Enlightenment, the Renaissance, whatever our globalization attempt or our version of globalization or what we call globalization or globalization 1.0 ended last Sunday. Maybe it was the Wuhan. I mean, I guess I don't know. But when the oil, that was the shot heard around the world that no one heard. That no one heard. No one's. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. Maybe I am. We'll see. We'll see. But let's see what the. Just to like. I mean, just some things that happened today. So. Sports teams are going to play. NBA is going to play games without fans. March Madness is going to play the tournament with only select people, family members, and things. Stock market was down. What was the stock market down today? Because it's stock market was down 5.86% today, so that's 1,465 points. I think if I'm reading this right, the Nikkei is already, it's already open, the Nikkei, and it's already down 850 points. Okay, let's see what the future. Let's see what the crude price of oil. Crude. Okay, so it's 9:06 Central Time. It's well, shit. I don't know. I don't know what the global is. I think this is what the times for the day. I don't know. Might not be open. I guess I don't really know any of that shit. But I'm reading right now, so it's down 3101, down almost 6%. I think that was today. I'll add more tomorrow.